Meine Herren, das können Sie nicht mit uns machen. Nicht mit uns. Das ist eine Verschwörung. Ich werde mich mit meinen Freunden vom Geheimdienst in Verbindung setzen. Da werden Sie sehen, was los ist. Sie werden sich die Finger verbrennen.
I'm sorry, sir. I cannot understand you.
A quiet, unassuming German man pulls a flaming tow truck into the parking lot of a North Carolina restaurant. The man's face communicates a sort of subdued bewilderment. He's in the middle of a nervous breakdown, friendless and alone in a country he doesn't understand. On leaving the restaurant, the man sets what's left of the tow truck driving around in circles, a final act of defiance before taking refuge in the roadside attraction across the street. Stroszek is a movie where the imagery somehow manages to cut right to the heart of a character's emotional life. A smoldering tow truck like a dog chasing its own tail. A warring pair of farmers patrolling a strip of barren field like it's their own little slice of the Berlin Wall. Few movies are able to do so much with so little. Where Stroszek really succeeds is in getting rid of so much of the niceties and the pretense of Hollywood. Almost no one in the cast is any sort of professional actor. The script was written in all of 4 days with lead performer Bruno Schleinstein in mind and incorporates many elements of his real life. When we're first introduced to Bruno, he's just getting out of prison. He's a man who's been in and out of institutions his whole entire life, at times when Nazi Germany was performing experiments on troubled or mentally disabled youth. The prison warden, he seems to think Bruno's problem is his drinking and going to bars, and in a roundabout way, he's right. It's at the bar where Bruno runs into Eva and offers her refuge from her domineering pimps, an act of kindness that eventually has the both of them, along with Bruno's elderly neighbor Scheitz, fleeing to America. It's in America where Bruno starts on his final downward spiral. Bruno's first inkling something isn't right comes in the form of his beloved pet bird being taken away at customs.
Was ist das für ein Land, das dem Bruno seinen Beo beschlagnahmen tut?
Arriving in Wisconsin, Bruno gets a job as an auto mechanic, while Eva becomes a waitress at a truck stop diner. They buy a mobile home, and together they approximate something like the American dream. Stroszek isn't really an overtly political film. It's as much about Bruno's personal turmoils, what he inevitably brings with him no matter where he is, as it is about what America in particular might do to him. But then again, that's part of it too, is it's also about Bruno's failure to assimilate. In America, he is double the outsider. If America promises a way forward for the rugged individual, it also demands a certain measure of conformity. The only question being, into what exactly? What is American culture? What is the culture of a country often referred to as a melting pot, whose defining quality is it's a place where other cultures come to be erased, assimilated, eroded, or else compartmentalized into little boroughs? What holds American life together? What history do its people share? For his part, Bruno dons a cowboy hat, a shade of John Wayne or the Marlboro Man. The Indian auto mechanic waves an American flag, and later a depressed Eva lies in bed surrounded by junk food and comic books. In their mind, America is defined by its prosperity. It's a place where anyone can come to work and make money. But then what about when someone like Bruno fails to prosper like he thought he would? What is he to make of America then? If the American ideal is an appeal to freedom, then Bruno has his ideas about that as well.
Bruno, hier tritt dich doch keiner.
Nein, so nicht. Sichtbar nicht, aber man macht es geistig.
Wieso wie?
Ja, in den Heimen. Da sah es genauso aus wie hier. Mehr so, oder man macht nicht mehr so. Man macht es auf der feine Art. Und die feine Art, die ist noch viel schlimmer. Also zerbricht.
As the bills pile up and the bank threatens to take their home away, Eva falls back on prostitution. While Bruno laments that they never spend any time together anymore, Eva tells him she's realized how important it is to have a room of her own, to have some time for herself. Like for Bruno, maybe freedom isn't so cut and dry for Eva either. For her, prostitution in America could be seen as either an act of desperation or of liberation. Eventually, Eva leaves Bruno, and unable to make any more payments on their house, Bruno is forced to stand by and watch while it's sold off at auction.
You hold up there, now $10,000 on it. Well, five. I am $4,000 and five. I am $4,000 over here, now 41 over here, now two. Whoop, here, now 41 over here, now two, now two, now two, now two.
The auctioneer talks so fast, it's a wonder anyone can even understand what he's saying, that anyone even knows what they're buying exactly or what they're paying for it. Throughout the film, it's Eva who does all the translating for Bruno, and with her gone, he barely understands a word of English. The auctioneer is a sort of window into Bruno's inability to communicate with the people around him.
I'm sorry, sir. I cannot understand you.
As the house is driven away, the viewer might imagine Bruno standing in the middle of the ocean on a rapidly sinking chunk of ice. His every moment since leaving Berlin has found him more and more isolated than before. It starts with leaving behind his piano, then his bird being taken away, then Eva leaving him, then it's his house. Eventually, Bruno can't help but react like a cornered animal, taking off on what is probably one of the more absurd crime sprees in cinema history, eventually culminating in his retreat to the roadside attraction. At the roadside attraction, there's a collection of animals behind glass cases that if you put in a quarter, they'll do tricks. The rabbit fire chief, the dancing chicken. The suggestion here is obvious. The idea that we are all, most immediately Bruno, at our core just animals, trying to apply meaning to what is essentially some absurd, tortured reward system. As cynical of a notion as that might be, it's still tempered by the eccentric charm of a dancing chicken. Who doesn't love a dancing chicken? Who doesn't love the antics of a bunny rabbit, or even a man in a back alley with a glockenspiel? Even as Bruno blows his brains out on the ski lift, what might otherwise be a defeatist, downbeat sort of ending is punctuated by a jubilant outburst of whooping and hollering from the soundtrack, with accompaniment by the animals. The tone reflects those moods in life when everything is so miserable and you are so at your wit's end that you just can't help but laugh. As for Bruno, his final mark on the earth, on America in particular, is a flaming tow truck, a wail of police sirens, and his own lifeless body circling round and round on a chairlift. It's the loud defiance with which Bruno leaves the earth, the forcefulness with which he communicates while all other words have failed, that rescues the movie from complete pessimism, and which makes Bruno such a memorable and endearing protagonist. Whether anybody actually understood what it was Bruno was trying to say exactly, who really knows? The man is gone, but the tow truck burns, the sirens wail, and the chicken dances on.